Guys, welcome back to episode 15 of Crossover Convos. We are joined by professional boxer Paul Bamba. Paul, how's it going, mate?
It's going good, going good. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's
Thank
an
you.
honor to have you on. So the first question I wanted to ask you, Paul, was what was it like for you growing up as a child? What was your childhood kind of like?
Um, it's a good question. I didn't really have a childhood. I grew up in like the system and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I was in either orphanages or foster care or like things of that nature. And I was moved around a lot, so I didn't really get a chance to like settle down, which
yeah,
is probably why I'm a little socially awkward now. Yeah. Um, I would say that the humble beginnings that I come from, they are what molded me into the type of person I am today. Like I like to persevere through pretty much everything. I'm very gritty.
yeah,
Uh, Tenacity is a wonderful thing. But yeah, my mother she kind of gave me away when I was young,
yeah,
so that's how I ended up there. But yeah, hopefully my kids have a better childhood one day.
yeah.
That's the
Is that something you think about, like when you have kids, trying to give them the childhood you never had in a way?
Oh yeah, I can't wait to be a dad. Not for a little bit, but
Yeah,
um, yeah, so I could kind of live through their eyes, like do the things that I missed out on, make sure they don't miss out on it, make sure they don't want or need for like time and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
I think some of the best parenting, because I think all new parents like it's new, so you fumble a little bit, but I think
yeah,
most like when you give time and effort, that's what really makes like family and like that bond, and that's
yeah.
what I'm excited for.
Yeah, and I suppose because obviously now you do boxing and all that, are you looking forward to trying to bond with your children through boxing?
Um, it depends. I don't know, but hopefully I do what I need to, so they don't
Yeah,
have to. I could see like if they wanted to, I'd be open to it. It's not anything I would like make them do.
yeah,
But I think the foundation of boxing I think is good for anyone. Just the discipline you learned and the confidence you gain from it,
yeah,
and it permeates into other aspects of your life. So to some degree, I would have them box. I don't know about compete
yeah,
unless they really
yeah,
bother me about it, but yeah, definitely like some sort of bonding through boxing, of course.
yeah. And because you mentioned your childhood, do you find it hard to trust people in a sense because of everything you've went through? Yeah,
Yeah, it's like it's probably one of my worst qualities. I second guess a lot of stuff for people and their intent, so I miss out on a lot of good things sometimes just because I'm
yeah,
not willing to be the most open. It's not through me trying to be difficult or like blatantly like disrespect anybody. It's just kind of like, well, if my mom did this, then a regular person could do that too.
yeah.
So it throws me off a bit. But as I get older, I'm getting a bit better from it. It's just I guess it's just facing your own traumas and trying to overcome them and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, I respect that. And how did you gravitate towards boxing? At what age did you actually get involved with boxing or find out about it?
Um, so I used to get into fights a lot, but boxing wise, when I moved to New York, I was 25 and I was homeless at the time. I was living
Okay.
on the sixth train. And there was a gym in the Bronx. Bronx is like a very tough part of New York. They offered like $10 if you could last the round. And I hadn't eaten in a few days. So I was like, all right, well, let's go try that. I know how to fight. I didn't last too long. I lasted 3 minutes though. So I got $10.
Yeah.
And I went to go eat. And then I went back and then I did really well and I made like $30. So I was like, fuck, like I just made $40 today, like just fighting. Like I'm coming back tomorrow. Like
Yeah.
I could eat and feed myself. And then through that, Aaron Superman Davis, he's a former world champion. He caught me walking from City Island to his gym, which is like 7 miles one way, so like 14 miles both ways, just so I could train. And then he started helping me get Metro cards and train cards and stuff like that, so I could come train. And then I just stuck with it. I was like, if I can't fight, I could teach it, or if I can't teach, I could fight. Like boxing, like it saved my life, man.
Yeah, that's beautiful in a sense. So, do you find more of trust within boxing, considering it's something what's always been there for you when you've literally had nothing at times?
Yeah, I would say it's easier for me to relate to people or open up to them in the boxing world just because I'm pretty sure I don't have the worst struggle. Someone's had even worse than me. Like it's not a competition, but like you can just everything's very open-ended in boxing. It's very black and white. It's either people are trying to help you or they're not, and you can tell based off someone's intent like right away. So yeah, it's a lot easier, and it's just like it's an icebreaker for me too. Because if you box, I could talk to you about anything, or
Yeah,
even if you don't box, if you're just interested in it, like it's like it's not awkward for me. Actually, oh yeah, this and this, I could just like
yeah.
let the flow.
Yeah, we agree with that. We actually get that. That's the beautiful thing about boxing. It connects everyone regardless of religion, age, gender.
Yeah.
Yeah, so without about your boxing as well. So what's your daily routine for your boxing schedule? What do you do most days?
So this camp is a little different because it's been a bit rushed because I had a concussion like about 5 weeks ago, so I had to wait to get like cleared, and I didn't want to miss the fight, so I had to wait till like the doctor cleared me to spar. I had my first sparring yesterday actually, so I only have like a real good two full weeks and then a week to cut weight, so like 3 weeks maybe. So I've been waking up at 4. I've been swimming or running, depending on the day. And then I'm done around 6. And then from like 9 to 11, I do boxing training. Then from 1:30 to 3, I do strength and conditioning or yoga, depending on the day. And then
Yeah.
yoga sucks, by the way.
Yeah, the
Um,
burn.
yeah, it's a different type of. I don't like it, but it's good for you. Very good for you.
Yeah.
Uh, and then if I, depending on if I swim or I ran at night, in the morning, sorry, then I'll work on like technique again at night just to stay busy.
Yeah.
Because the main focus is just like staying busy, drilling certain things into me. We know we're working with a small time frame, so we want to make the most of it. So we have no excuses come fight night.
Yeah.
Um, but about anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a day, pretty much training, little naps in between when I can, and then
Yeah.
I eat like 5 times a day. So I don't like that either. I'd rather eat like 2 big meals and call it a day. But you gotta space them out so that way it helps you with the weight a bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask. So, how did this fight with Chris come along? Did you have any beef before it was announced or anything, or have you just just been promoting the fight?
No, I never heard of him. Not no disrespect to him. I never knew about him. Basically, I was supposed to fight Aaron Chalmers in March on March 5th for the Misfits '06, I think it was, or
Yeah,
'05. Oh, one of the Misfits, the last one that happened.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then Aaron fought Mayweather instead, so I didn't have an opponent. And then Mams asked me if what I thought about fighting Chris Avila, and I was like, yeah, hell yeah, like I need get me on a card. And then that's how it came into fruition. I didn't really. He just the only way I know of him is like I guess like the Nate Diaz thing. Like he's like I guess Nate Diaz's friend or something like that, or his water boy, some shit like that.
So, I want to ask as well. How's it been working with Mams and in case like how's it been from working from other boxing promotions?
Oh, it's been great. So that's the one thing I could say about this promotional company. I know everyone has their own take on it. I've been treated like very, very badly, like to the point where it made the news. So it was pretty bad. So Mims talks to me at least a couple times a week. Like I never don't get a text from him. He's called me at 5 a.m. to make sure I was running before. Like he's like just there. It's a very hands-on promotional company. It's like it's not. They do a lot more than they have to. Like that you could tell that they care, like because I can't think of too many promoters that call you be like, hey, how you doing, you've been running, like everything's good, because they have other people to do that. But Mims is always checking in. He's a very solid guy. I got a good contract, so that was cool. They took care of me, and I'm just excited to be on the platform. It's dope. I haven't had any like hands-on stuff with KSI, but I heard well, I know Mams manages him, so I'm guessing if he's usually you're a lot like the people that you learn from and all that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he's just as great too. Um, yeah, I like it a lot. I can't lie. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Does Misfits feel like a family in a sense? Do you think everyone who's in Misfits is more of a family?
Yeah, because you'll have people that butt heads and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like when like the cameras are on and stuff like that, and we're like doing little beefs here and there, like it's cool, but no one disrespects each other as men or anything like that. We
Yeah.
all have an understanding of like, hey, when it's time to fight, it's time to fight, it's time to go. But outside of that, like we all have the same goal. We all want to be a part of helping make this even greater than it already is. And people look out for each other, and it's like very the camaraderie is there, which is dope to me because I used to be in the military,
Yeah.
and it's one of the things I miss from it. So I would say the camaraderie. Like I know I could hit up Mini Con or Chase or B Dave and people that would just like give me good advice or check in on me, see how I'm doing. It's not just like everybody's competing and like kind of being jerks to each other. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, I think that's rare to find these days as well.
Yeah, 100%. Especially in like a competitive like sport too. Cause it's like you might go up against these people. Like me and Anthony, for instance, like we butt heads online more often than not. But at the end of the day, like we don't actually disrespect each other. We both know we want to fight. We both know it's gonna happen, but
Yeah.
we keep it to what it is rather than trying to make it into something personal or disrespectful, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on what you just said a minute ago. So you said you have military experience. Has that helped you at all, boxing wise? Has it crossed over at all?
Yeah, discipline wise, structure is the secret to life, I would say. There's a reason why the military has you on like a certain structure. I actually live on a structure, like as far as scheduling goes and stuff like that. I have a bedtime, I have a time I wake up. Like I try to keep everything as like a regimen as possible. Not obviously not in between fights all the time, but like when I'm locked in and we know we have something ready to go, like it's just about being focused, being disciplined, and whatever plan you made out or me and my team made out, we make sure we don't bargain about it the next day. It's like, no, fuck it. Like this is exactly what you signed up for. This is what you said you're doing. So this is what you're doing today. And there's no deviating from the plan.
Yeah.
And I think the military helps out a lot with that because it's kind of like, hey, you might not want to do it, but you're gonna do it, and you need to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense then. As well, you just touched on Anthony Taylor. Where did that come from? What made you want to fight him?
Nothing personally he does, to be honest. I think Anthony's a great guy. I've learned a lot from him as far as the way he entertains because he's really good at that aspect of stuff. And he's a really wholesome dude. But he fought Tommy. Tommy gave Tommy a good run for his money. So in my mind, I was supposed to fight Tommy. If I do my thing against Anthony and I could take him out and do something Tommy couldn't, then I have a better argument for like, hey, Tommy, you should fight me. And if I keep running through people and it ends in knockouts or like very like good fashion, like good wins, I'm like, yo, Tommy, where are you? Like, because eventually, just based off principles alone, I want that. I need that.
Yeah. I just want to mention as well because you mentioned Tommy Fury. How did it feel when you were going to fight him and then you found out he missed weight?
It was shitty. It was I mean, to be able to be like the co-main to Mayweather, like that's just in itself cool as hell, you know, especially if you come from like a boxing background.
Yeah.
So to not be able to fight or to not have a replacement opponent when I followed all the rules, it was very disheartening. It got a bit worse when they like canceled my flights and didn't pay me, and then I had to fly my entire team back home from Dubai on like less than 24-hour notice. That shit's expensive.
That's
so
crazy.
yeah, it wasn't great, and I didn't really blame Tommy too much for the way they treated me. But then, like when you still see Tommy with the CEO of Global Titans, the Uday, the weird dude that's always taking pictures and stuff. It's kind of aggravating. It's like, hey, you might not have a hand in it, but you're allowing these people that work with you and you know, are supposed to build you up, you're allowing them to do dirty things with your name attached to it.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, Paul, you go.
Yeah, sorry. I want to talk about that more. So with Tommy Fury, was when he had the replacement opponent and everything, was that did you think you had a replacement at all when they announced that Tommy Fury was going to still be fighting on the card?
No, I didn't think I had one. They were as soon as I started complaining about him not making weight, because what was crazy is the commissioner handed him water. Like, me and my coach said, hey, we have to be there when he weighs in, and that's normal for boxing anyway. And then they try to get him to jump on the scale quick. We had to literally sprint to the gym to make where they were doing the weigh-ins to make sure that he was on weight. He wasn't on weight, and then it was annoying. And then the commissioner himself, he just handed him a bottle of water to rehydrate. So I was just looking at it and like, this whole situation is fucked.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. Yeah, it was a crappy situation.
Oh yeah.
Stole my fun, I feel.
How do you manage to stay motivated or believe in yourself when things start to go wrong? Because you said you were homeless, but how did you manage to maintain that faith in yourself most people don't have?
Because when you're down and out at a certain point, shit really can't get any worse. It could only get better, so you gotta look forward to it. And if you know you're doing what you need to, and you're pressing forward, and you're doing all the right things, and why would you not? If you can be upset at the bad times, why would you not look forward to the outcome of your own work, your own hard work, you know?
Yeah.
So for me personally, because I come from trying times, like tumultuous times, I always try to find a good, like a silver lining to something. Because if not, I would just give up all the time, to be honest. It's because once I get in my head a lot too, so I try to be positive and just be like, hey, well, this can work, and if it doesn't work, then what lesson did you get from it? And if you didn't get a lesson from it, did anybody benefit from it? And did you help pay it forward in some way, shape, or form? That's just how I try to look at stuff instead of just being negative, because two negatives just make more negatives bad.
Yeah, that's an amazing way to look at life. So life to you, in a way, it's like perspective. Like, no matter what goes wrong, what goes right, it's just how you look at it from the outside point of view.
Yeah, 100%. Because you could find problems with everything, and you can find solace in almost everything too. It's literally, like you said, perspective. It's do you allow something that's out of your hands to, like, you know, make the situation worse, and then you got to deal with that, or do you try to look for the positive in it and be optimistic and really drive yourself forward? There's a saying in the military, it's like, no matter what happens in life, to just keep taking full 30s. And what they mean by that is when you're marching forward, you're taking big 30-inch steps. So it's just no matter what you do, you keep your chin down, keep looking forward, and keep going forward, no matter how bad stuff gets.
Yeah, that's amazing. Carl, do you have a question as well?
Yeah, I was just about to ask. So I take it when you beat Chris Avila, you're going to be fighting Anthony Taylor. That's the fight you want next.
Yeah, I'm trying to I don't know. So if I knock out Chris Avila, I'm definitely running my mouth and talking shit to Nate and trying to make that happen. Depending on how I win, I would say dictates my next opponent. If I just win and I outbox him, yeah, I'll probably be fighting Anthony next. That's what I'm gunning for. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But if I completely like just dismantle this guy, I'm gonna try to go for a big fight because they have a good relationship. So in my mind, if somebody came and beat the crap out of my little brother in front of me, I'd be like, all right, fucker, let's go. I'm hoping that that's the case, because if I can jump from a Chris fight to a Nate fight, it's a lot easier to get the Tommy fight, and then I'll be around like bigger names, and then I won't have to I'll be built up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you beat Chris, you fight Nate, you fight Tommy. You beat Tommy. Would you ever consider fighting Jake Paul? Would that fight ever cross your mind?
Yeah, 100%. It's not something I like would go after or anything like that. But if it was offered to me, 100%. I don't really want to fight any YouTubers or anything. I think actually Salt Poppy would be fun just because I
Oh yeah.
respect the amount of time he puts into the trade. But outside of that, I don't really want to fight YouTubers or anything like that. Like I want to get back to boxing and fight more on the pro side and stuff like that. So I know if my end goal is within what I'm doing with Misfits is Tommy Fury, and then from there, hopefully get back to the professional ranks and try to really like go for a world title. I have a dream of being a WBA light heavyweight champion. The WBA is what Aaron had won to, and my old trainer, Lou DeBal, he was a world champion as well. He trained Badu Jack, Ronald Gabriel, people like that. So that would be really meaningful to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to jump back to the Chris fight. So with Chris, what do you think Chris's best attributes are for his boxing? What do you think he does best, and what do you think he doesn't do so well?
I think the only thing, I mean, I don't know. So if if he really tried in that Dr. Mike fight, if he fights me the same way, I promise you I knock him out. If that was just because Dr. Mike was taller and he's not used to a heavier weight, then it will probably be a really competitive fight. But I do know for a fact if he fights me how he fought Dr. Mike, I know I'll knock him out. I think the only good thing that he has is because the boxing shit is so bad is that right hand that he throws it with a lot of belief, which can cause problems for anybody. Yeah. It's awkward. And he just throws it out there. But outside of that, there's not too much technique. He doesn't set anything up. He doesn't really know how to cut off the ring. He's just a fighter. He has experience, but he's not a boxer. Yeah. And we're not talking about if we're fighting in MMA. If we're fighting in MMA, he'd probably fuck me up. That's not my thing. I don't do that. But we're boxing, so this is my world. So I'm just hoping he fights me like he fought Dr. Mike, because then I'm going to get like a highlight reel knockout. That much I do know. Because he moves forward a lot, his head's down. He's there for uppercuts all day. He doesn't throw a lot of punches. I finally had somebody on Twitter send me the full fight. He looks way worse than the cool highlights that they made of him. Yeah, boxing-wise, I don't really rate him. I think, and that's why there's so much pressure on me too. I was supposed to fight Tommy. Now I'm fighting Chris. So if I don't do well with Chris, and it's like, yeah, Tommy would have killed you. So, which I don't feel is the case either. So I like really, it's really in my mind to perform adequately and do my thing.
Yeah. So you feel like as well, because as you mentioned, that now you're fighting Chris, that the pressure's more because of the Tommy fight. But then in the same sense, does that motivate you more? Because now you know once you beat Chris, all these fights become now tangible for you to have.
Yeah, I think that pressure-wise, just because who I was supposed to fight and how I'm expected to perform, that's there. But mainly I'm just pressed because I've had such a short amount of time to get ready. Sorry about that. That's my dog. I had a short amount of time to get ready due to the accident. And we want to make sure that I just perform. That's the thing is I don't really pay attention to much of the outside world or anything like that. It's like, this is your opponent. So like NDA and all these other people keep messaging me from Nate's camp. And it's weird because they're more outspoken than Chris is. Everything they're saying just going in one ear and out the other, because it's like at the end of the day, yeah, unless you guys all plan to jump me, only Chris is fighting me. So you guys can all be in there to help Chris out. And it's not a UFC fight. And I box a bit better than Anthony Taylor. And yeah, I don't see this going his way at all. I feel like it's like a nice little Christmas present wrapped up for me. And the only thing that's going to make it tough is that I have to lose like 20 pounds in 3 weeks. And I haven't been able to spar like I should have. But if I was worried about it, I would have pulled out. I could just say that. Yeah. If this would have happened and I'm fighting like Tommy Fury, I would pull out. I'd try to reschedule it. Like I don't rate him at all. I think he's a good fighter, but we're boxing, you know?
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, I want to ask as well. So with your training camp, are you training specifically for Chris Avila, or are you just fighting your normal style?
No, every time we have a camp, we try to emulate the person to a certain degree. We have sparring partners that we try to find similar. For this fight, it's kind of funny because what we did was we found a lot of top ranked amateur fighters to mimic his style, because he doesn't really have he's not the best boxer, bro. Like he throws in bunches at times, and then he just throws awkward, and he tries to maintain pressure, which is pretty much what you do as an amateur fighter. He doesn't cut off the ring. He doesn't really have a jab unless he's standing there. He can't really punch on the move. If it does, it's kind of off. So it's like he has to settle in. He looks like a strong guy. I'll give him that. But again, like, I'm a southpaw, so I'm going to be moving around. My goal is not to go in there and knock him out. My goal is to go in there and win, whether winning through 4 rounds and a decision, or if it's knocking them the fuck out in the first round or the 4th round. It really doesn't matter to me. I just want to go get this win and then move on to like the next step in life, you know?
So as well, with the let's go back to Tommy Fury a minute. Did you watch Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul?
No.
No. So, but did you think that Jake would beat him? Did you think the outcome would be the way?
Oh, no. I was very open about that. No, I don't think. No, I was on Tommy's side for that. I think if we're talking people, I like Jake way better than Tommy. Jake's a good guy. He helped me out with the Global Titans crap. But if we're talking boxing, Tommy's levels above Jake. He got a little lazy in the last round when he got put down with that jab. He was just more, a lot of his weight was on his front leg. Jake threw a nice jab. Kudos to him. But other than that, I feel like he just got outclassed the entire fight. I think, honestly, I think a rematch, Jake gets knocked out. I think Tommy's a boxer. You can't, if you have somebody that has so long doing one thing and then you try to go do it, it's not gonna work out. And wet dreams don't keep you from winning fights or anything like that.
Yeah, I can't believe he used that as an excuse.
Yeah, that was a little weird. Or the coach, he should have he got his ass whooped. And it's not really that bad. At the end of the day, if you think about it, like he's a YouTuber who has 7 professional fights now. He's lost 1 fight, and he lost against somebody who's 8-0, who comes from a very good boxing pedigree. So it's nothing to be down on himself about. It's only up from there if he really sticks to it.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about the whole fight process? Is it the training camp? Is it the walkout? Is it just getting the win?
I try to do training camp. Like, I love it, even though I hate it. But I would say my most favorite part is just getting my hand raised. It lets you know that everything you just sacrifice for, even if it's just in the moment, it's just cool. Yeah. It's just, you did what you needed to, and you put on, and you aspired to be what you wanted to be, and then you made it happen.
Yeah, that was another thing I was going to ask you as well. So I seen you tweet. You tweeted something about when you find it hard to stay motivated, be consistent. So how much of your life is your success based on just being consistent, getting everything, even though you hate doing it sometimes? How much do you attribute your success just to doing things you hate doing?
99.9% of it, like Purell, like
yeah,
most of it. I would say I'm big on, I hate making the same type of mistakes and anything like that. If I can learn from something, I'm going to learn from it. If I don't like somebody and they know more than me, I'm going to shut up and listen to them, because life doesn't work the way we always want it to. It works the way it's supposed to, and you can learn from everybody. And if you do what's easy, life will be hard. And if you do what's hard, life gets a lot easier. So I make sure I stick to whatever I come up with. Yeah. I had like a 10-year plan. I think I'm on year like 5 now, but I'm way ahead of what I actually expected where I would be at.
Yeah.
And it's just from sticking to everything. And everybody that knows me too, because I don't really go out too much and party and stuff like that. I'm the friend that I normally, if you really invite me and you make an effort to invite me, I'll show up, I'll show face, and then I leave.
Yeah.
I don't party too much. I don't do too much. Like I'm very locked in. I'm very focused. I try to make sure all my friends and my core group of people, they're all focused. If they're not, I call them out on it. I don't care if I sound like a jerk, because it's like, why would we not all be great? We're all meant to be. I don't want to be your friend if you don't want to be better. If you're cool with where we're at in life, like, then I'm gonna have to leave you here once I surpass this level. If you're not growing, because who the fuck wants to be like, if you have a friend who, let's say a friend has money issues, then 10 years later you're doing everything you're supposed to, and this friend still has the same issues. It's like, did you even take anything from me? Did you learn anything? Did you try to grow, or did you just complain about everything and make excuses?
Yeah.
It's like, because there's always an option to go get shit done or to complain about it and not get it done. I try to get shit done.
Yeah, I love that. Have you seen the Snoop Dogg goes on about that very well, and he calls it closing the gap. So as you go up, your friends stay down here, but they want you to come back down to get to their level, but they need to come back up to reach you.
I agree with that. Yeah, I want all my friends know it too, because like I said, like I'll tell them a few times about like what they're doing. I'll tell them about themselves, because I expect the same from them to let me know if I'm messing something up. But yeah, I do believe that not everyone's meant to complete your journey with you. Some people are just meant as lessons. Some people are meant to be a part of stuff, and maybe be in your life, but not necessarily the way you want it to be. Because you should always be trying to move forward. We're not dead. We're racing against time, essentially. Like I can't understand why anybody would want to be the same as they were the day before. Like me, I want to be better, even if it's just little things like improving my vocabulary or whatever. Like I just always, something has to be better. I want to learn from my mistakes. I want to progress. And I want to be great, and I want to do the shit that I dream about. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, well, this happened, so I couldn't. It's like, well, this happened, so you couldn't right then and there, but you could have adapted to it. You could have made a plan. You could have grown from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your biggest inspiration?
Superman. Christopher Reeves. I think because so when he got paralyzed when he was riding a horse or something like that. I remember this when I was little, and he never really let it get him down. At least not, I'm sure he did in private, but at least not publicly. And he continued to pay stuff forward and continue to be an advocate for just moving through stuff and not letting your circumstances stop you. And I think to be paralyzed from the neck down, God rest his soul, is like one of the most terrible things you could go through.
Yeah. So
to even have it in you to try to inspire others around you and really try to like be a real life Superman almost, like that's really like, just you move forward. It doesn't matter how bad shit gets, like you move forward. Because if your life doesn't stop then and there, why the hell would you stop? You move forward, you try to get better, you try to make things, you don't try, you do. Sorry. That's another thing. I don't try to do anything. I just do it, or I work on it. I feel like every time I say trying, I'm just letting myself down.
Yeah. So I want to touch on that as well. So when you're boxing, is it bigger than just, winning this fight, and you want to go out there and inspire people to start boxing or to start achieving their dreams as well?
Yeah. I don't know if I want to get people to box. I feel like if that's their path, then I definitely would love to be a motivating factor with that. But more so, I would say, like, when I leave Earth, my legacy will be that I didn't give up on anything. And anyone that's known me since I moved to New York, like 5-6 years ago, like, they know that I don't stop. Like, I will never stop. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. It doesn't matter what extenuating circumstance there is. It just matters that I get it done, and that I'm moving forward and I'm progressing. And I hope that I instill that in others, because if you can have that mindset you can gain confidence in a lot of things, and you can constantly grow and build and inspire others. And if you're paying it forward, then we're all just doing good. So it's not bad either.
So, and then I was going to ask as well. So, obviously, you've just gone on the advice and the way you look through your life and everything. What was the best piece of advice you have ever received in your life? Would you say?
Actually, this is funny as I don't know his name. It was a drunk dude. I think I was on 42nd. It's this place called Times Square. It's very popular in New York. It's where all the tourists goes.
Yeah.
When you first move to New York, you'll probably visit once or twice, but once you live in New York, you'll never go there because it's too busy. This guy said, "You already got it. Don't act like you don't." I was yelling on the phone. I forgot who I was arguing with. I was going through something. It was a few years ago, and then he just randomly said it to me, and I was like, "What?" And he said it again. He said, "You already got it. Don't act like you don't." And then what I took from that is, no matter what you're going through, you're more than equipped enough to handle it. So don't go against your own grain. Don't act like something's more problematic than it is. You got it. It's in here. Push forward. Get it done. Do it. I think that's like the best advice, because it's very black and white. It's very just straightforward. He's like, you're equipped to deal with anything that crosses your path. Just get it done. Don't act like it's harder than it needs to be. Just move past, move through it.
I respect that. One of my friends once told me, they gave me some advice saying, like, just promise yourself you improve like 1% each day, because that will add up and everything. So is that how you look at life? You try and improve every day. You see it as a way to improve.
Yeah, I think even as something as simple as, like I said, like vocab or anything like that, I try to be a little bit better every day. I'm very militant in the sense that I don't like making the same mistakes twice. I'll beat myself up about it, honestly. Like I always want to be better. The way I grew up, and receive a lot of love and was always kind of downplayed. So in my mind, I'm like, and it helps me to this day, even though it's probably not the greatest thing in the world, but it's like, I got to be better than yesterday. Like if I ran 3 miles yesterday and it was 26 minutes, which is slow, it's got to be like 25 minutes and 30 seconds today, because you got to be a little bit better. If I'm trying to work on not swearing and I swore like twice yesterday, let me not swear at all today. It's just little things, little goals that they provide real intent to you. And then through that intent and through those actions, I believe the universe starts answering whatever you're manifesting to. That might sound a little weird, but I really believe that.
Yeah. So do you believe in manifestation? Yeah.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I think we're all creatures of habit. Anything you stick to, it develops into a skill. Anything you will enough develops into reality. I truly believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, vibrations and everything, 12 laws of the universe. Yeah, I read all that stuff.
Yeah, I literally live. I used to joke about a lot of things that are now my life. Like everything really, like life is very surreal at the moment. I never really thought I would be where I'm at in life. I'm big on like that quote, like shoot for the moon. If you miss, you're amongst stars. So if you aim for perfection and you land a bit lower, who cares? You're still doing way better as if you didn't go for it at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a big thing to me, a big part of my life.
Do you know who David Goggins is?
Yeah. I gotta get going in a few minutes, by the way.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, bro.
No, it's cool. But fun fact, this is actually, you can look it up. I did this. So my brother likes manipulating me all the time. So David Goggins, every year he runs 48 miles in 48 hours, right? Yeah. So he was a Navy SEAL. And Navy SEALs are cool, but they're not Marines. Marines are, So I ran 72 miles in 72 hours, but I ended up doing 76 in 68 hours. Yeah, that was my David Goggins introduction. My brother said, if you think it's so easy, why don't you add to it? And I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. And then instantly regretted it once we started, but made sure we finished strong. And it was very dope. And then we raised I think 35, 40 grand for COVID relief. It was back in 2020.
Oh,
yeah. So I ran 4 miles every 4 hours for 3 days straight. it sucked. I wouldn't say I'll never do it again, but I'll never do it while I'm competing. I know that much.
Yeah. And before we wrap up quickly, Cal, do you have anything left you want to ask Paul before?
No, I don't have questions. I just want to say this was an inspiring episode, and thank you for coming on and sharing your, point of view and stuff and your advice.
Thank you, man. No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I just want to say as well, thank you coming on. It's like surreal because you're the biggest guest we've had on. I'm not sure if you know Leo Waynes, but we had him on, but you're the biggest yet. But the things you tweet about is really inspiring. Your message, the things you believe in, it's really cool to see. And it's like rare these days because a lot of people, if they were in your spot, they just care more about views, who likes them, clout. But it's great to see that you actually stand for something more than just fame, clout.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I think like you both this morning when you got dressed, you put your pants on one leg after the other. That's what I do too. So I don't think I'm better than anybody. I don't really fall into the famous hype or anything like that. I still think I have a long way to go before I'm there anyway. But I like to be as down to earth as possible because I'll never forget where I come from. And where I come from is not the greatest of places. It's some of the most humbling of places. And that's how I really want to be. That's how I want to remain humble and just somebody that's always about growing and paying it forward and being a people person,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And if you're down after the fight, we would love to have you back on to discuss the fight.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate that, man.
All right, guys, this has been episode 15. We've been joined by the legendary Paul Bamba. Thank you for coming on, and goodbye.